Okay, Jackie, here we are. Good morning to
Good
you,
morning. Good morning.
and good morning to everyone who is going to be watching us. Nobody is right yet because we
No.
just pressed the button, so we will give people a chance to join us. Uh, Jackie, how did you do with this storm? There's a storm in New Jersey. For those of you who are not in New
This is
Jersey, how
crazy.
did you do with this?
So we were okay, but it's funny. Honestly, last night we must have woke up every half hour. It sounded like it came crashing through my roof.
Yeah.
The wind was so loud, and my husband and I joked about it this morning. He actually went into work later than usual, and he said, "He goes, if we didn't change our front doors, I guarantee you they would have blown open. Like that's how strong the wind was. Like you felt the shift."
Yeah, this felt kind of biblical.
Yeah. Yes.
It felt like a cross between the Noah story and I don't know. I don't know what else. Some
If
kind
you
of
look on our cameras, the rain was sideways.
the rain was sideways. Yeah, why is the rain coming in sideways? What?
It was.
There are
I was
people
like,
who are used to that. In Florida, they get a lot of sideways
yeah.
rain. We like our rain
I
going
like
with
to
gravity
exactly coming down, hitting me on the head.
from
Like
the
this
top
was like
down.
pelting, and it was the wind was insane. So
Next,
we
the rain is going to come from the bottom up somehow.
checked probably.
Anyway, we're all together once again. This is the last time we're going to do this before the new year. Although,
Yes,
listen, I may do a spur of the moment thing.
right, but a
Next week,
formal
I
one.
haven't decided. If I'm feeling the inspiration, you know me. Sometimes I just got
Okay.
to preach.
Get on your soapbox.
That's it. So if I'm feeling it next week, I might just pick up my phone
Jump on.
or come in here and do this. We have limited hours next week. Everyone be aware. So, you call the office, please, if you're scheduled, and do not miss your appointments. This is a
Yes.
time of year where everyone is unfocused. I hope everyone has their purchasing done, their presents, right? And also, you know what I'm hearing, Jackie? I'm hearing some people are doing potluck. They're not
Well,
doing this crazy thing where they have to make
yes.
everything from soup to
So
nuts.
really good friends of ours, actually. I was talking to, we were at a swim meet all weekend. So I'm kind of in that crazy mode, right? As much as I try to plan and be ahead of myself, there's always something to be done, right? So I definitely have last minute gifts I have to get. Majority of things are wrapped. The rough outline is there for the holidays for this coming weekend. But we were talking about it, and they said, you know what, it's 14 of us. It's fairly smaller than it usually is, but we're actually doing potluck this year, and it surprised me because I wouldn't think that they would do potluck on Christmas. For any other given point, absolutely. And I said it's not a bad idea. Where my husband even said to me, he goes, listen, we always get home very, very late Christmas Eve. I mean, we're talking 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, and he's like, why don't we consider doing half of it catered? And I'm
But
like,
if I could just interject, I
yes,
know why you get home at 2 and 3 in the morning.
yes,
It probably takes you an hour to travel, but
about.
but you start saying goodbye at 7 p.m.
No, actually.
and
Or
then
probably
you
four
find that
thirty.
you leave about 4 hours later.
Yeah. Well, we actually, my husband, a traditional Italian family, we do like the seven fishes on Christmas Eve. So it's a long, drawn out eating extravaganza on Christmas Eve. So no matter how early we start, no matter what we do, we can never leave before midnight. We have tried in times past when we go back to Brooklyn doing midnight mass
Yeah.
in Brooklyn, which is nice.
Oh, interesting. I didn't
So
even
we
know
do
that
it.
that was a thing. I
Yeah,
knew
it's
that was a
actually
thing in
beautiful.
Sedona, Arizona does
Huh.
that. They do like a midnight or like a dawn mass, and
Oh, really?
yeah, it must be really cool. I think
It's
it's a
actually
dawn.
really nice. It's really, and it's the church that we were, born and raised in. We both commune confirmed, baptized there. We were married there, so it's nice. So if we ever get a chance to go and to go for midnight mass, it's like it's nice. It's very nice.
Okay, good. Get your mass on there, Jackie.
Yeah.
It's
We were
important.
there yesterday. We blessed baby Jesus yesterday.
Now that
We
you discovered last week the relationship between he and Rudolph,
yes,
that was part of the discussion
that
last.
was funny.
Okay, good. So, listen, we have to talk about New Year's resolutions. Uh,
Super important.
I don't want my preference is that people don't make resolutions. Having said that, listen, we're no different than anyone else. It is a blank slate. We do look at it as a new, fresh start,
It
and
is.
there is an opportunity for that. My problem is that often people make a resolution and they don't have an actual plan, and they don't consider all the factors that they need if they want to be successful.
I do agree. Yep.
And you call this New Year's resolution loading. What do you mean by that?
So this is prep time. So this is now, of all things that we don't have control over, of all the chaos of the holidays, no matter what, this will come and go, right? So we need some sort of plan. We need some sort of, like I said before, rough draft. We need a concept of what are we going to do when all the hustle and bustle is done. When 2023 is over, we're a fresh start, clean slate. I personally love New Year's resolutions, whether or not people stick to them. I prefer them because I feel like it gives you a baseline. Call it something and it gives you, it's tangible, right? You have a name, you have a couple of goals, and it gives you something to look forward to. So in terms of loading, this is you loading and prepping, getting ready. This is it.
Okay.
We've got 13 days to get it together, to get some sort of plan on paper.
Right. Okay, so good. So let's talk about what that might consist of, because people end up making the same mistakes over and over every year. And
Yep.
listen, and that gets tiring and that gets frustrating. So first of all, I feel like when people start, there's a vague idea in mind, but often they don't write anything down.
Correct.
Okay. So the first thing is to write the goals down, but maybe not have too many of them. Like, let's face it, if your goals are to make $1 million and lose 50 pounds, that's a good year.
It's a great year.
Like, you don't have to have all the rest, right? You don't have to have be on Dancing with the Stars and whatever else, right?
What's next year?
Okay. Second thing is you definitely, write out the plan so you have a structure and stick to it. Now, there are two points that I want to make that go along with this. First of all, when you do that, the first couple of days are the hardest days.
Always.
That is the first bump to get over. And the reason is, and we've said this before, is that when you start something, so let's say it's January 2nd and you start with your plan, right? Well, come January 3rd, there's still leftovers from the holidays. And you're confronted with that. And it's so easy at that point to say, okay, good. You know what? I'm going to start on the 5th. Right? You just cheat now. It's just a fresh start. That can be done forever.
Oh, forget it. Yeah.
You keep starting again, right? Here's the number two thing. And the more I think about this, the more true it becomes. And I think it's more true in today's world than any other time. It's almost like a need these days. It's not even a want. It's not even a nice to have. You need someone to hold you accountable.
Yes.
You need someone who's not yourself to hold you accountable. That could be us. If not, that could be an accountability partner.
Absolutely.
Somebody that you do the program with, that you're holding each other. It's just too easy. Coming from inside of our own heads, it's just too easy to not go there. Because we're only cheating ourselves.
Absolutely.
We've proven ourselves time and time again that we're okay with sinning against ourselves. And I think that it's in a lot of ways the worst sin, because we can't help anyone else if we're sinning against ourselves all the time. Right? And I hate to use this word sin, Jackie. How do you feel about this word sin?
It doesn't. I think it's accurate. I think it applies because it is. You're shaming yourself. There's no. You have. For the things that you have control over, there's no reason why you shouldn't embrace them. So when you completely disregard them, regarding yourself, it is a sin. You're doing yourself an injustice,
But it's become the most acceptable sin that there is.
It's very.
We will do things with ourselves that we won't do to anybody else.
True.
We won't allow to be done with us.
I'm guilty of that too. It's very easy to fall into that. It's easy to.
It gets worse though, Jack.
It does. It does. The longer you do this, the easier it gets to do it.
Yes, it becomes a way of life, and more than that, it becomes almost a personality type.
Yeah.
Right. So you have these people, and a lot of them seem to be the kind of people that have birthed children. We call them mothers. And you have people that what they do as almost a way to justify it is they say, it's not about me, it's just about everyone around me, and this is who I am, and I don't count, and I'm just there to serve. And
I'm very
yes,
guilty. I'm guilty of this. I
yeah,
can't be
I
more
know
guilty.
you are, and other people.
Yeah, I'm very guilty of it. And I feel like as much as I try to do things specifically for myself or plan ahead, if anything comes up that I may need to give my attention to, and it could be anything, that could be my family, friends, work, and I'm like, okay, just 10 minutes of this. It's not a big deal. I'll alter whatever I was doing for myself for 10 minutes. It's okay. I can't get it done for myself today. I'll try to do it tomorrow, but at least this is handled. And then I feel a sense of accomplishment, but with guilt. So I feel accomplished that I did something that somebody needed me for, or needed help, or checked off my to-do list. But then I feel guilty, and I'm like, "Oh, I couldn't.
Well, the guilt is another justification.
It is.
Right? The guilt affirms that you're a good person because only a good person would feel good about it or bad about it, rather. Right?
But that's part of why I say writing it down. I know, and it's not even just pen to paper, putting it in a note in your phone, whatever works for you, but something that you can remind yourself of daily, of creating simple tasks, but you have to be realistic about your goals. So that'll also help a lot. And I think that's what's helping pull me away and trying to do more for myself.
Jack, I got to tell you something, and I'm gonna throw myself under the bus because I don't want to sound like I'm preaching, from some ivory tower here. This is as true of me or more true than anybody else. You make the plans, right? You make the commitment, and then you decide that for whatever reason one day you're not up to it, and so there goes that. It goes out the window.
Mm-hmm.
And then you do that a bunch, and then you don't want to make commitments anymore.
Yeah.
So we see this with people when they do the program, or if they lose weight and then they gain it again, and the effort just seems too overwhelming, and then all of a sudden you don't have the same goals anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You just you decide that you're not up to it, and instead that you've got to make your peace with it.
Yes.
And I don't believe it has to be that way. But, ultimately it comes down to some kind of a relationship with the self that has to be repaired, right? Because who are you to not keep your word to yourself?
Exactly.
Keeping your word to other people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So until that point where we can do that, where we can get back to that place, because we've all done that in the past, it's really necessary to have somebody else that will hold you accountable, that you have to face up to. You have to man up, pardon that expression, right? But you have to man up and you have to do it.
No, it's true. I actually started doing that with someone I can't lie to, right? Utter confront with my kids. So
you're going to say your priest.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, you can lie to your kids. I see people lie to their kids all the time.
Well, one thing about, a white lie, let's call it, as opposed to something practicing what I preach, right? Like I really do try 1,000% to give my children the healthiest options possible. I mean, I definitely enforce things on them, whether they like it or not, whether it be supplements or I make them drink their green juice every day and beet juice before practices and these things that, yes, they're used to it, but they do give me pushback on, and I get it because they want a Gatorade or they want a Prime, and I don't give them those things. And I'm like, I'll make you your own homemade Gatorade. And I'm like, there are certain things that I do really try, so that when there is an unhealthy thing thrown in there, it's funny. It sounds like a reward to them, but it's easier for us to bounce back from.
Jackie, I have this image of you forcing your kids to eat spinach while you're working on an Entenmann's cake. Like you have to put in front of
you. I don't do, but I do force them to eat spinach.
Am I right? No, that's just my imagination.
It's really not. Like my husband, when he does go to the store, he came home and he had like Entenmann's chocolate donuts. I'm like, why did you buy these? Like, why? As I'm like, hey kids, finish up your green juice. And he's like, what? Just in case. He goes, they love it. I'm like, don't buy it. There's like random things. Like if I just won't buy, I just won't do it. It just doesn't happen. But when it comes to like my daughter had a very big swim meet this weekend. And, she's gaining muscle. She's getting older. She's, as they hit this like tween age and their bodies start to change and develop muscle. And I said, we've got to start like working on those things. I'm like, you know what? I think 5 extra minutes every day. When you get up, she does her stretches in the morning. I said, when you get up and do your stretches, let's add 5 more minutes. Let's do a couple of squats. And she's like, oh, maybe sometimes my legs hurt after practice. I'm like, well, then we have to up what you're having after, whether it be bananas or things to help your muscles recover from your night practices. I say, you know what? I'm going to get up with you. We'll do it together. And I get up with them anyway, but what do? I'm starting to put laundry away. I'm loading the dishwasher. They're old enough where they're getting themselves ready. So I said, no, I'm going to take the 5 minutes and I'm going to do the squats with you. And that's our thing. So now it's like, I can't not get in 5 minutes for myself. And I'm telling her to do it as well. So it's kind of like, yes, it's helping me, but she's holding me accountable because I can't now tell her to go do it and I'm not. Why to unload the dishwasher?
Right. So that whole thing about, do what I say, not what I do.
As I do, I really don't want to be that parent.
That goes out the window. Yeah. And there are a lot of parents like that, but and in a way it would be hard to not be that way.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Because you can't tell them all the things that you've done. You can't. They're not your confessor. Like you can't.
They're hovering over my head as I tell them, don't do that because I see the outcome.
And then, you have to pretend that you're an angel when it comes to the kids, I suppose.
I'm trying.
Is that your strategy?
I'm definitely like, I cringe a little bit and I'm like, listen, mommy was 11 once too. Don't worry. Trust me. Just trust me. Believe me. I will not steer you wrong. I swear.
I thought it was like, the when I was your age thing and what a perfect person you were.
No, not at all. No.
I never did anything wrong. I never gave my parents a moment of trouble.
I really didn't though. Like, my mom will say the same thing, or if my mom will say the same thing. I really was very good.
I think believe your own BS, Jackie.
Listen. I was an only child, and my cousins we were raised.
There's never any issues with only children.
No, look at me. I'm perfect. Yeah. No, but my cousins we were raised like brothers and sisters. We lived next door to each other, super close in age, and I have to say because. As siblings, they got in so much trouble by my mom. My uncle was in the military. So they lived next door. My aunt worked, my mom worked, my grandmother was there a lot. We were there with her all the time. I think because they did so much bad, I was terrified because I would see them get in trouble, punished and whatnot. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm good. I had my fill. So I would really walk that straight line that even to this day, oh, Jackie would never do that. I'm like, nope.
Not you.
Nope.
Okay. Well, let's get back. Let's get the hot light off of you, and let's get back to what we're talking about, because everything that we're talking about is just in service to this whole idea of our goals for the new year, right? So what we're discussing in detail is really the traps that happen and kind of how to not fall into those.
Yeah.
It's so easy to do, even when you are cognizant of it. So that's what we have to make sure. So what we're saying is not only have a plan, write down the plan, and don't rely on yourself, at least not at first, at least until you have some momentum going.
Yes.
Don't rely on yourself exclusively. It always comes from you, but if you have an accountability partner, then your chances of success are that much better.
I agree. And I think when we say writing it down, so obviously, we'll make a list of this. The initial part, when you're making a list, when we say realistic goals, for example, over the course of the year, you want to lose 10, 20, 30 pounds. Let's say it's weight you want to lose. Have a start date. Have a goal date. Small increments where you could reward yourself and see the results, where it doesn't feel so far off. Like if you
lose 5 pounds in the next 3 weeks, if that's what's real for you, correct. Right? But don't set yourself up for disappointment.
Exactly. Be realistic about it. So, and if that is the case, but also on the same side, don't say where there's so much leeway and no structure where it's like, I want to lose 10 pounds by, August. Like, no, let's work with January, maybe January to February. February is a short month. Let's go for the next 2 months. I want to tackle these 3 things. Maybe it's, I want to lose 5 to 10 pounds. Maybe I want to commit to some sort of weight loss regimen, some sort of health journey, a goal, like a program like ours, or a workout routine. Maybe it's not. Some people jump in too much where it's like, I want to work out 5 days a week, 1 hour a day. I want to lose 25 pounds by this date. And it's all cramming it into 4 weeks. And then by February 1st, they're jumping ship.
Yes.
I want to do
Yeah.
that.
So, Jackie, I address this idea of kind of short games.
Okay.
I address this in the book, keeping it off, right? So, what I recommend is that the games be short, and here's why. And let me see if I could find this, and I could actually read this.
Okay.
But the idea is this: is that if I were to tell you, if I were to challenge you to give up your favorite food for a week, could you do it? Would you commit to that?
Yes.
Good. If I were to challenge you to do it for a year, would you do it?
It's tough. It's tough, but I do it for a year straight.
Could you do it?
Could I do it? I probably would have a breaking point.
What if I challenge you for the rest? What is your favorite food, by the way?
Oof. I love Mexican food in general.
What if I challenge you to give up Mexican food for the rest of your life?
I couldn't do it.
You couldn't do it. Like you wouldn't even try, right? So
No.
here's the thing: commitment tends to wane the longer the time period that we're
Duration.
committed, right? So we have to chop it down to a point where we know that we can do it.
Correct.
So if the goal is to lose 5 pounds in 3 weeks, right?
Yep.
That's a doable goal. And then if
Yep.
the plan is, to eliminate like sugar and dairy in that time and increase our exercise to a half hour 5 times a week,
Yep.
right? That's something that we can get our heads around.
Absolutely.
A lot of people psych themselves out
Oh,
by
yeah.
saying, okay, I'm going to lose 50 pounds in a year, and this is my plan. The longer you think about it, the more overwhelming it becomes, right?
Mhm.
So ultimately, what happens is that you're like, okay, let me see, let me do the math here. If I could lose a pound a week for 52 weeks, and all I have to do is eliminate this, that, and the other thing. You know what? What time is it? Is the McDonald's drive-through open right now?
Exactly.
It just becomes too much for people.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what I want people to be able to do.
Right. I agree. I think that's the best way to do it. I think that, those small goals and having some sort of plan, even if it's a plan that changes, it doesn't have to be something that is set in stone. If it's not working for you, trying something else, but not giving up, not going backwards. Like, okay, this didn't work, so let me reload, cheat, and then start something new. No. You have to gradually find what works for you.
Right. Well, I'm going to tell you something else that's important. Whatever path you choose, whatever plan you choose, believe that it's the right and the best, and it will get you to where you want to be.
Yep.
Right? If a person goes into a plan with doubts about whether or not it will work,
Yep.
then why do it? Like
Sure.
there can't be any doubt. I heard a guru once say that doubt kills the warrior, right?
Huge. Yes.
People who do best are people who they don't have doubt, they have certainty. And ultimately that's what we want. Certainty is security. Certainty is sanity.
Mhm.
It's when we have doubts, when we're insecure, that's when we're going to make bad decisions.
I agree. So,
So-
and that comes with also being positive. I mean, it's very hard. We're not saying that everyone's walking up and radiating and you're glowing and you're so happy. And so starting something new is scary. It's intimidating. You're afraid to fail. We totally get it. But it's a matter of being positive. You're speaking it into existence, right? So if you're going to start off Monday morning, it's a rainy Monday morning. I don't feel like going for a walk. This isn't going to work. I'll just start tomorrow. And then you're going to be disappointed later and then just cheat throughout the day because you're like, well, the weather was bad outside anyway. Finding any excuse to validate your purpose for giving up on yourself is not going to get you anywhere.
Right.
And then I think it's making that time for yourself is huge. And we know it's not easy. It's not easy if you work from home. It's not easy if you're going to an office. It's not easy if you do neither. It is just making time, carving it out for yourself, and dedicating a solid 20 minutes a day or 15 minutes a day to meal prep so you don't do it all at once. It isn't always easy, but knowing that you're doing something with the positive intention to make yourself or your life better in some way, you'll never regret giving it your best. You will regret not.
Yes, and I think that we should reemphasize that comment that you made about time.
Hmm.
If people don't set aside time, then it never happens. I mean, one of the things that we have to handle is we have to, and this is no matter what the goal is that you have to handle the circumstances of it, right? You have to
Yes.
handle the real things.
Yep.
So, like, the time, the space, these kind of things need to be understood. Okay, so this is when I'm going to cook. This is
Yep.
when I'm going to prepare. Having the stuff, having the
Yes.
physical material, like
Yep.
your containers or
Hmm.
whatever the plan is, then that has to be considered as part of it.
Right.
Otherwise, you find yourself at the last minute just kind of like
Oh yeah.
scrambling, and you do
And
it
then you
half.
spiral out.
Yeah, you do it half-assed
Yeah, and like and
or
when we
whole.
talk about, yeah, when we talk about meal planning, when we talk about prepping, things of that nature, simple things. So, perfect example. I For my kids as well, we pick out our clothes for the week. Okay, so I am making a self-conscious effort to
What?
pick out our clothes for the week,
For the whole week?
at least 5 days straight.
Okay.
So my kids are old enough where they're able to dress themselves. So they get up in the morning and it's like they get ready, and it allows us to do more things as a family together. If I am stopping every morning, and it's not to say that I don't, because there's times where, okay, we picked out 2 outfits ahead, 3 outfits ahead, and I'm helping them. Or my daughter asked my opinion, Mom, how does this look? I want to change it. Come help me. Absolutely. I jump in to do that. But now they also are creating independence for themselves. They are walking like, okay, they're dressed, they're brushing their teeth, washing their face. They go and make their bed, they get dressed, bring their dirty clothes down. And now, guess what? Our morning just got a little less chaotic.
Right.
We have a plan. There's more downtime to talk. There's more downtime if they want some TV time or if they want to be on their iPad because they don't get a tremendous amount of time with that because of their activities. Just being around each other. It's not really.
Here's what I'm doing. I'm sending you
Mhm.
the location of a uniform store. This is going to make your life infinitely easier. Get them uniform. Get a uniform.
I know, right? I gotta say, when my daughter was in private school, I miss that. I do miss the uniform days. But so what I was getting with that is that even for myself, even working from home and we're a casual office, even if it's just stretch pants and an ironed flannel, it's prepared. If I also have a pair of sweatpants and a workout top out, it's set. There's nothing stopping me from waking up and giving myself 20 minutes. My outfit is already out. There's
Yeah,
a plan.
it's one last thing. So
One last
let
thing.
me ask you this, and just out of curiosity. So if you know that on Friday night you're going out, on Monday you have that outfit ready?
I actually do have 3 date night outfits out for things that we have coming out already in the next 2 weeks. They're hung. I know it sounds crazy. I know. I mean, listen, I don't have my entire wardrobe out, but specifically, we know where we're going. We have reservations. I start to think, oh, what am I going to wear? What am I going to put together? Because what if I don't like it, or I have to find something, or what? But it's out there and it's there. It's
It
ready.
actually makes a lot of sense. But you are turning into my grandmother. First of all, I expect to walk into your house and to see plastic on the furniture.
No, I won't go that far.
So my grandmother, and tell me if you can relate to this. So she had plastic on the furniture. She also had plastic runners, right, on the floor. So God forbid, like if you couldn't step on the carpet.
Yeah.
But not only that, if she was having people over for dinner on a Friday night,
Mhm.
by Tuesday, the table was set. But you have to understand something, though. There's a problem with that. If the table is set, then dust could get on everything.
Yes.
So she prepared for that. She had saran wrap over
No,
everything.
stop. Did she?
Yes.
That I didn't do.
Yeah. Well, but now you have a good idea. Now you're all excited.
Well,
If
I
I
have
know
to tell you,
you,
so I am this. So obviously we have, Christmas next week. I'm hosting Christmas Day. Christmas Eve is at my mother-in-law's house. My parents go to my in-laws on Christmas Eve with us. So the way it lays out is actually a plus for us. So on Saturday, I have all day to prep. Sunday, we're probably gonna leave a little bit early. We'll head out to Brooklyn. But I'm like, you know what? I can set my table. Everything is done. There's no pressure. But my napkins are washed already. They're already
you're doing
folded.
this when?
Sunday,
Sunday for when?
Monday.
For Monday. Okay, so
But
that's
that will be my
really
last.
favorable.
But that will be my last of everything. But my
No,
napkins are already
no,
wet.
that's relatively calm on
It is.
your
Well,
part.
but my linens are already washed. My napkins are
I would
folded. Like
hope so.
everything's
What are you
ready.
going to give? Dirty linens?
No, but I mean, like
Right.
I wash them obviously before putting them away, but then I refresh them again. So I wash them when I unpack them, and get them a fresh wash now.
Okay.
Use them.
Well, listen, getting back to what we're discussing. Another thing is, here's what people have to understand. I feel like there's so many can'ts in the air,
Oh, big
CEA and apostrophe T, right? You can do it. You have to know that you can.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. There's so many things that people want to do, right? Especially in the realm of losing weight, but they're so sure that they cannot.
Yeah.
So of course you can. I mean, I'll ask this question. I'll pose this question. Sometimes a person is going to a party or going away, and they'll say to me, hey, what should I do? I'm worried. What should I do? And I'll say, just to make the point, what if I gave you $1 million to not cheat at that party or on your weekend vacation?
Incentive?
Did you do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So you can. The question is, will you? What is losing that weight worth to you? Now, it doesn't seem, let's not lessen it. It's a good idea to sit there and think about and get back to that why. I mean, most of us, we're not thinking about that very clearly. We know what we don't like. We want to get away from misery. But what are we going to? If you have a straw that can pull you along, it's the carrot and the stick, right? You're beaten away from the pain of it, but you're going towards something. What is the experience that you want to have? What do you want to be able to do? How important is it? If you get an invitation to a wedding, suddenly it becomes very, very important.
Absolutely.
So why is it not important until that point?
Right. Why does it take something like that to make you do something better for yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, but because that's how we're putting things in perspective, right? We need that game. We need that urgency.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's what we need, let's put it into place. Let's have that game.
I don't mind that.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. If that's going to be the driving force, okay.
Yes. Now we can talk about mindset differences between long-term and short-term, right? But and I always want people to have a piece of their consciousness on the long term, because that's a different game entirely than the short term.
Correct.
But the short term, that's the playoffs, and the long term is the Super Bowl. So you have to win the playoff game to get to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And I know how you love talking about baseball.
Oh, look at me. Loving this. That was football. That was football.
Thank you. All right.
Cool. I told you I host Super Bowl, so I'm okay.
Yeah.
For the food, of course.
Right. So resolutions are not a bad thing, but
no.
Remember, they're called resolutions. There has to be resolve, right? You resolve to do it. You don't wish for it. You don't go for it half-assed. If you're not up to doing it, then don't make it. There's, it does seem like a blank slate, but every day is a blank slate.
It is, but there's no time. I mean, and to recap on those things, there is no time like the present. I mean, we've all been there in that place. Everyone gives the old eye roll, whatever it is, but it's not going to hurt you to have a small plan. And even if it's not for weight loss, maybe it's just getting healthier. Maybe it's just having a regimen. There are some people that don't necessarily need to lose weight, but they need a health regimen. They need a routine of sorts.
That's a good point. Yeah.
It's not. I have plenty of friends that have no problem maintaining their weight. They kind of, teeter. They go up and down a little bit around the holidays. They reel it back in, but they need something, some sort of structure, some sort of accountability. We have it from both ends. We have maintenance programs. We have weight loss programs, detox programs, Kickstarter programs. Whatever it is that you feel you need, you have to address it honestly.
Right. And Jack, this is the last thing I want to talk about.
Yes.
I want to talk, and this is a big subject in and of itself, actually confronting it.
Yes.
The fear of confronting something that just seems so dangerous and overwhelming will stop people. And this is part of the therapeutic value of coming to see somebody like me. And that does not sound humble, but just the confronting of it in and of itself is a huge deal, because Every time we hear it, think about this. How many times a day does someone who's very overweight think about, I want to lose weight, I have to lose weight, I just can't confront it right now?
Correct.
Those aren't the terms that they use, but right, I'll handle that later, I'll handle that tomorrow. As opposed to just the ability to sit there and consider it and confront it, or confront the scale, or whatever it is that they think is too big for them to handle.
It's
So
true.
that's why, and that's one of the reasons why we have these intro programs. We have a 10-day program because it's just more confrontable
Yeah.
than a 40-day program.
Absolutely. You know, and it's true. And just the last thing on that, we happen to have two amazing clients. They've been with us for a long time. And they always do phenomenal. They do well. And it's not that they ever go back so bad, but it's something that happens that makes them kind of put the weight back on. And they didn't want to reach out to us. Friday, I spoke with them. They decided to come back. And the truth was, and she said it to me, she said, she goes, I was embarrassed.
Yes.
She knew she had to do something. She knows this is where she wants to be, what she wants to do. She feels her best doing our program and after. And she goes, I've always been able to maintain and keep it up. She goes, I was so embarrassed that I was digging myself further and further away from doing something. She was like, and I just can't anymore. I'm not even waiting. I just need to start now. And that was it.
Yeah, sadly, we see that a lot, and there's so much that we can talk about with that. We're not going to right now. We're gonna say goodbye. So remember, next week we have limited hours in the office. But everyone should keep their appointments. It's more important now than ever, right? So keep your appointments if you can. If not, we can schedule a virtual appointment.
We can.
So that can easily be done.
Yes.
And what else? I'm going to give you the last word.
I definitely want everyone to, just to reiterate those hours next week. We are open in office Wednesday and Thursday, 10 to 1. So Wednesday in Cranford, Thursday in Marlboro. If your plan is to kickstart or get ready with us, whether trying a 10-day launch, doing a 10-day launch, doing a premiere or a detox, come in, get your supplements, get on schedule. You have a week or so to do that. You want to make sure you're ready for the new year. So just with that being said, do that. Just generalize how you see 2024 for yourself. Write a couple of things down in your phone and organize them by priority.
By the way, and this might be something that I'll do next week, is just to talk about the 10-day launch. The 10-day launch is a great way to start the new year.
I think I
have to just say this. We've had several clients who've done a 10-day launch between Thanksgiving and Christmas, right? Because they were like, oh my God, I know how things could get out of control. So they did this easy 10-day detox. That's what the 10-day launch is. It is what it sounds like. It's easy, it's confrontable, it's inexpensive, and it allows you to get started, to get over that inertia.
Yes.
To get started, right? So it's really a wonderful thing. I think for the New Year's, for people who can't confront a larger program, that's perfect.
I think it's a great idea. It's a good stocking stuffer. So if you have a family friend or a family member that's not sure, needs to do something, they're afraid, that's great too. One for you, one for them, vice versa, and do it together. 10 days. Commit to 10 days.
Good. So let's end on that note.
Sounds great.
I will see you later. Everyone else, we will definitely see you in the new year.
Yes.
And possibly before.
Yes, absolutely. Have a great one. Happy New Year, guys.
Bye.